Hey guys, what's going up? Stephen Mandeville here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you one new life hack that I just figured out a couple of weeks ago. I think it's pretty cool, and I think you guys are going to like it too. Alright, so you're probably asking yourself, Steve, what do you got for us? Well, it is a cool app for your phone that you're going to like using. So the app is provided by a company called Overdrive Incorporated, which they deal with like ebooks, audiobooks, kind of digital content, and they specifically specialize with libraries and stuff like that. So I think they have around 27,000 libraries in the US that participate in this. So Overdrive provides an app called Libby. Now you're probably wondering, what's Libby? And I was wondering the same thing. And quick shout out to DM for referring me to this app, because I would have never found this on my own. So thank you, I really appreciate it. So you're probably wondering, why do I need this app? Well, you don't need it. It's something that is good, and it's good for expanding your mind and getting smarter and kind of like staying fresh and up to date with stuff. Now Libby basically provides ebooks and my personal favorite, audiobooks, just because you can kind of do mindless tasks while listening to the audiobook, and you can kind of be more productive in that manner. Now I'm a firm believer that most people are not good at multitasking, but at least when you're doing something that's kind of like mindless, like folding laundry or driving in some capacity, you can kind of be somewhat engaged in some like creative like material that's informative and gets you smarter every single day. I think that's a really good goal to have, is to keep improving yourself every single day and to keep getting smarter. It keeps you competitive in the world, and it just makes you more efficient and I think happy overall. All right, so how do you set up the app? Great question. So the one annoying thing that you do have to do is unfortunately go to the library, but you only have to do it once. So when you get the app installed, you can search within it to find the nearest library near you that's participating in Libby. And pretty much any area you're in, you should be able to find a library within 5 miles, unless you live out in the boonies, and good luck with that. So when you go to the library, you're going to want to make sure that you have two things. Now you should probably have both things on hand and in your memory, because they're pretty simple. The first thing you're going to need is ID. So you're going to need your driver's permit, driver's license, whatever you got. And the second thing you're going to need is your address and where you're currently living. So if you got to the library, I'm assuming you probably drove, so you should have your license on you, and then you should also be aware of where you're living, I hope. So rather than just blindly giving you some advice, I went out to another library type company system in order to add another library card onto my Libby app. Now the advantage of doing this is when you have more than one library programs that you can access, that means that your wait time is less, because there's only a certain amount of licenses per audiobook that can be given out at one time. It's like a library system, but it's just a digital modern version of it now. So that's why I went out and got a second library card. Now, rather than setting up this second library card and not letting you guys know, I figured this would be a good learning experience. I can kind of put my phone screen up here, and then we can walk through it together. So let's do that right now. When you go to the library, if you made the trek, you're going to end up getting a library card. Don't steal my number, it's mine. So you're going to need this library card number on the back in order to set up your digital library card on the app. Alrighty, so first you're going to go to the App Store, go to Libby, and it'll be the second one down, because Audible pays money to be advertised first, because this is just a corrupt society that we live in. It's just business. So you're going to go to Libby and you're going to download it. So you're going to be at this screen, and then when it's downloaded, you hit the open button right here. Now, like I was saying, this is how you find your library. So if you haven't gotten your card yet and you're not sure where your nearest library is, you are going to hit this little girl emblem in the upper right here, and then you're going to hit add a library. So, wherever you live, you're going to type in, I'm sure if you put in the zip code, it'll be much more efficient rather than just typing in a state. And there I go, pressing a bunch of buttons. Anyways, so once you do that, you add your library. You'd find where the library is, and then, just plug, oh, that's where I live. Now you know where I live. Thanks, guys. So you find the library you want to go to, you go there in person. Like I said, you want to bring your photo ID or your driver's license along with providing them with your address that you live at. They'll set you up with your card. So let's now set up this second library card that I've gotten. And we're going to hit this add a card button right here. Alright, so I'm going to put this in. So I'm probably just going to, bleep this out. That way you guys don't try to steal and piggyback off my card and then we start having problems. Alright, so let's try putting in this account number again. Perfect. Okay, so it looks like maybe there's just like a glitch or something going on with that. Perfect. Alright, so now I have 2 library cards. As you can see, one is the 4-county library system, and then the other one is the Finger Lakes library system. So as I was saying earlier, the advantage of doing this is, if there's a lot of demand for a specific book, and you're really low behind in the queue line, if you got 2 library cards, you could potentially get it faster. And obviously, having 2 is also good in case one library system doesn't have a book and the other one does. Alright, so now that we have that added, let me run you guys through how to do that, and even just how to switch between the cards. So as you can see right there, it said Finger Lakes library system. You hit the next one and then it changes it. So that top emblem that's up there is what the current library card that you have activated. Alright, so as you can see right here, I've got this book going on right now. I'm just going to screenshot that just because I don't want to lose my place. But just to kind of, show you guys some of the functions. So when you are listening to something, you can swipe to the right, which will fast forward, and you can swipe to the left, and same thing for each side. Now another thing to note is that usually most audiobooks I think you get to rent for 7 days or something like that. Let's say you're on day 1 and you're whoa, I'm really out of time. I'm halfway through this book, I just want to crank through it because, I don't want to lose it, have to wait in line again and all that kind of stuff. What you could potentially do is click this little button up here in the upper middle, and you can kind of control the speed at which it will read, and it looks like you just keep tapping it, and every time you tap it, it goes up by 0.25 until you get to 2. At that point, it just resets back to 1. Alright, so that's that. So let's, just for fun, go over to my other library card, and then we'll look for a new book. So I do not want to read that. A book that I'd recommend is 4-Hour Work Week, which is right here. So this is the first audiobook that I listened to using this app. So right now, let's see if we can borrow it, which looks like we can. I'm not really sure the difference. Okay, yeah, so one thing to note is right here you'll see the little headphones or AirPods, meaning that it's audio, and then the other one does not have that, meaning it's just ebook. So if something is already tied up, you can hit the place hold button right here, and it'll give you kind of an estimate of when it's going to be ready. So I could hit the place hold there. And so the suspend hold thing is kind of neat. So what it does is if you've got an audiobook or you've already got a plan of what you want to go through in the future, you can save your place in line by suspending this book, because if you do not suspend it, as soon as it becomes available is when it checks it out for you. The kind of three spaces you want to be aware of is this library section right here. This is where you search for the books and stuff. Shelf is what you currently have checked out, and if you press the upper right button, that'll let you switch between your library cards, search up libraries near you, and all that good stuff. Now when you press hide, that takes you kind of back to the main menu, and then if you press this little middle circle or even the audiobook right there, it'll take you to the current book that you're listening to. That's pretty much everything in the app. The only other stuff that I wanted to go over with you guys, is why this really exists. So what's in it for like the company, right? So Overdrive, I'm assuming, gets paid by, libraries around the world to like fund that program. And I think it's cool because it's a modern way of doing things, rather than having to go to the library and check something out. It's just a big hassle. You have to waste your time, you have to waste someone else's time. And it also keeps kind of like the same process of how things used to work. There's a limited amount of resources. You have to kind of wait for your stuff. And that's kind of like the parallel between the two. Is rather than having physical copies, there's licenses of how many copies that are available to be lent out at one time. So that's kind of how the system really works. And it's obviously libraries are funded either by, taxpayers' money, whether it's you paying taxes or your parents, or by, government funded stuff. I'm not really 100% sure. So that's kind of how that works. And the last thing that you might be asking, is what is in it for me for making this video for you guys? Obviously some multiple things. I enjoy this whole process. I enjoy, researching things, finding better ways to do things, and sharing that with you guys. I love recording, I love editing, I love interacting with you guys. I think it's just a great way to kind of like spend my time and like kind of a free hobby. And the last thing is affiliated marketing. So if you don't know what affiliated marketing is, that means that I'm kind of just like a middleman for consumers buying a product. So currently what I'm using is Amazon Associates. So if you look in some of my other videos, you'll see in the description, and even this video too, I'll list some things. You'll see links to Amazon. So pretty much what that does is when you click on those links, it puts a cookie on your computer. And when you buy something, whether it's that product or anything else on Amazon, I get a commission for it. Now you might be, thinking, hey, well, this sounds scary, right? It's no additional cost to you. If anything, it just takes a little bit of the profits away from the seller in order to help me for helping generate a sale for them. So that's a little bit of what affiliated marketing is. So if you're trying to support my channel, please utilize those links for whether you're buying, what I recommended, or if you're trying to buy anything else on Amazon. All right, so let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys don't have Libby around you, and I'll even be willing to contact them, and knock on some doors and see if I can get them to expand a little bit more. Other than that, if you guys would be interested in me doing some audiobook reviews, that way you guys don't have to spend as much time, looking for something, or if you're just even looking for a suggestion or idea of something to look into, I would definitely be willing to look into that for you guys. If you think if you think that would be valuable to you. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions, please drop them below. Do not forget to subscribe, that way you don't miss any future content, whether that's just me, reviewing, products I use every day, or household items, or anything like that. I'm gonna be doing, self-improvement stuff and all that kind of jazz. So, stick with me as we make it through this journey, and let's see what we can accomplish together. All right, you guys have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you later.